This is going to be over. Lions are going to win it. Lions are bringing the NFC North title back to Detroit.
All right, what's happening, everybody? It is Thursday night. Rocked On Detroit Lions, March 14th, 2024. Man, I just can't get enough. But I got to tell you, I got to be honest. I am exhausted, completely exhausted from this week. And it's still going, man. We're still not done. So I wanted to at least jump in. I doubt it's going to be a 2-hour show. We'll probably get through this in about an hour. I'll open up phone lines as quickly as I can. And I was trying to play with something. I was trying to put something together to kind of give you guys a picture of maybe what this defense will look like. And do we have it, upgraded at this point? And I would say yes. So I'm going to show you guys a few things. And it's not my best work here, but it is what it is. So let me try to put this up on the screen. If it'll let me. All right. So I don't know how good you guys are able to even see this. But right now, if you take a look at our left cornerback position, where Davis, let's just say Davis is left and not right for right now. Let's say Cam Sutton stays the number one. That's barely an upgrade. Now this is PFF grade driven. Okay. So it's not based on ability. It's not based on tape. It's just based on grades. I would say from the tape, much better corner as far as what he can do man to man and his ability overall. Comparing him to Jacobs from PFF, not that great. There's like no upgrade at all. The tape is everything with this. So I still think it's an upgraded. I mean, it is on paper. When you look at the right defensive tackle position, you had either Benito Jones there. Who else did we have there? We had Benito Jones there. Levi Onwuzurike, Broderick Martin for a hot second. Josh Paschal even played inside there, which, he's kind of that hybrid end. And depending on what scheme they're in, depending on what fit they're in right now, this is just a simple 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, hey, there he is. Whoops, I only had 10 guys, man. Would have got yelled at. This is like our 4-2-5 formation. So whether you have a safety back, up top, single high safety, or, you have your safeties on the side and you move Robertson up in the slot, which is probably what they would do. And assuming that you're going to bring Branch back to the safety position, which is what I'm thinking is going to happen here. Try to make this as easy as I can to see. It's kind of tough. Not much of an upgrade, over, CJ GJ or Gardner Johnson. I mean, 5 points is pretty big, but I think that we would all agree that Brian Branch had a hell of a rookie season, and we just saw the tip of the iceberg, man. Like, this guy's just getting started and battling a few injuries last season. I would dare say that he is going to break out this year. He's definitely on my breakout watch. I think that Brian Branch is going to surprise a lot of people this year. And I think he's going to even more piss off the Packers fans that watched us come up and snake them. Brian Branch was one of my favorite pickups from last year. Still will be this year. I'm really excited to watch him work. And now that he's going to be a second-year guy, I'm looking for big things, man. Big things coming out of him. Robertson is a giant upgrade right now over Khalil Dorsey. And who else did we have back there? We had Khalil Dorsey, Stephen Gilmore, not very often, if at all. I don't even know if he played yet. I don't think he did play last year. Matter of fact, I don't think he did at all. I think he did in preseason. Chase Lucas played. Matter of fact, Chase Lucas's score. He was, well, man, he didn't register a darn thing. So did he even play? I don't think he did. I thought he was up in the roster in a couple of games. PFF doesn't have anything for him. Starling Thomas, obviously, he was gone. So, yeah, I mean, there's really not much else happening here for this depth chart from last year. I'm wondering if Pride of Detroit had this one right. But anyway, overall, I think our slot is hugely upgraded right now over Khalil Dorsey, who also filled in at left corner. And the guys all moved around. It depends on what scheme, they're in, what front they're in, where these guys were sliding around. So I'm kind of just taking a shot with, who was on the team and where they would have lined up. But, right now, I mean, Amik Robertson is even a big upgrade over what we had for Jerry Jacobs. It's just one's a slot, one's an outside guy. Overall, this team has improved. I mean, look at DJ Reader and look at that score of a Benito Jones, 50 points darn near, 45 points upgrade. That is big time. In just that position alone, if DJ Reader gets on this field and stays healthy throughout this season, you guys are going to see a ton of sacks, and I'm going to be right there with you. I think that you could almost double. Maybe that's too much. How many sacks do we have last year? 47? I think that 60 sacks is probably going to be the floor for these guys. And you're going to see a lot of different positions getting in on the action. Matter of fact, let's look at the sack leaders from last year. I don't want to throw out a bunch of numbers here. I want to actually look at something. Yeah, so the Ravens had 60. So I guess you shouldn't say that's going to be the floor. The Lions had 41, not 47. So let's just say 50 is the floor. I think 50 is a good number. That puts you between the Cleveland Browns and the Indianapolis Colts from last year, puts you in the top 10, near the top 5 for sacks. I think just the addition alone of adding Reader, even though he's not a sack monster, you're putting him next to a Lee McNeil. And then you have, Davenport, which again, I think that there's a lot to learn from him yet. I really liked his press conference today. He's definitely a goofball. You could tell right away. He's a funny guy, down to earth. Said a lot about his initial takeaway of Dan Campbell's first speech, and that was with the Saints. So as you can see, I put the Saints up there. I wouldn't put the Vikings uniform up there. I just can't do it. So I think, the fact that he played under Dan Campbell and Dan Campbell was the interim head coach and that he took away, something from that first speech that Dan Campbell had as a head coach. I think that tells you a lot. That Dan is able to really inspire these guys, and it's carrying big time weight, even throughout free agency. So Braylon Dennis Super Chat says, get a defensive end and safety in the draft. Defense is Gucci.
Oh Detroit, stand up. You've waited for this. One proud nation, stand up. You've waited for this.
All right, let's see who's all in the chat tonight. Appreciate you guys joining me on Thursday night. We got Tracy, El Tori, Lone Wolf, J Mommy. Let's see here. Uperlights, Eric Rittamaki. Hey, Eric, how you doing, man? Hope your show's going well this week. Mike P, Chris Time, Josh Jackson, C Klaus 21, Maurice M22, Steve K's in the house. All right. J Mommy says, I think Will is going to be one happy guy with this guy coming to the Lions. I am. You guys knew it. You heard me pound my fist about it. I wanted a defensive tackle. Now I wanted Chris Wilkins. Shout out to Brad Holmes for not spending $100 million on somebody. I really didn't think that Christian Wilkins was going to command that kind of a bag, based on, a lot of the numbers that were shot around. For a lot of these guys we got right. Van Ginkel and a handful of other guys, Kendall Fuller, just to name a couple. The numbers are right. The math was right. We got it right. But Christian Wilkins, man, he surprised the heck out of me. I had no shot even thinking that he was going to command that kind of money. And if I knew that ahead of time, he wouldn't have been on the list. But when you're looking for guys and the list gets thin, that's kind of where you resort to your second, third tier options. DJ Reader was probably last on that list, that second tier list, because of the injury history. And, the good news is it sounds like he's passed his medical, and obviously he still has a little bit of rehab to do, but he should be ready to go for training camp is what I'm hearing. And then that'll be great, because if he can get in a full training camp with this defense and Aaron Glenn, that's going to bode well to a great start to the season. Hopefully they don't rush him back. I don't think that that's the MO of this team. I don't think they've ever rushed anybody back. If anything, I think they're a little bit more cautious, as we've seen last year with James Houston and some of the others. James Houston tendered, man. He's coming back. So I think that we have another big opportunity to see this guy do what he started to do in 2021. And that's break out, or 2022, sorry. And that's, break out with 8 sacks in 6 games. If he would have played a whole season, man, he could have probably had 15. So if he can get 8 sacks, if now Reader is next to Aleem McNeil and Hutchinson, I bet you the floor for him is probably 5 or 6 sacks. Aleem might jump up to, 6, 7, 8 sacks. Hutchinson, no reason why he can't get 15. And right there, I mean, you're close to 40. And then you've got, your dogs and Brian Branch and Amik Robertson is good off the edge. Ife Melifonwu, Kirby Joseph both showed us last season that bringing pressure off of the edge in DB blitz packages is highly possible. And when you have a defensive tackle now like DJ Reader added to this team, it makes it even more possible. And I can't wait to see what Mathieu Betts brings to this team, because that's just another element of speed and power that he's displayed through his tape. And I hope it translates. It has to translate. Shout out to the first guy in the chat tonight. I don't know why it's not showing up on this side. I hope I'm not having issues with the chat again. But Luke Brunskill said, Will, you called it, talking about Brad Holmes and having his contract year for 2025 come up, and how he's potentially building this squad. Appreciate you, Luke. Appreciate you for paying attention, man. I say a lot. We have a lot. And Hot Rod 409, I see you're in here. Yeah, I have different chat on this side than I do on this side. That's kind of weird. Maurice, I see you're in here. Want to make sure I get everybody shouted out here. Stanley Miner, Lion King, Braylon Dennis again. Yeah, I haven't heard anything about Jefferson, Braylon. Honestly, I've been trying to get a nap in today. My medication's got me all screwed up today. So it's one of those days. They come and they go, but it's just one of those days for me. See, Klaus 21 says, my theory all along is we were taking O-line in round 1. Dude, that's a great possibility. I just don't know if it's at 21. And if it is, I'm kind of liking this Guyton dude and Graham Barton. I think both of them will probably be there. And I think both of them have an excellent opportunity to go in round 1. Sign Mike Williams to Detroit. Man, that would be an incredible signing. But I think is he coming off of an injury? So maybe it's perfect fitting. I'm just kidding. I think we're grabbing a wide receiver in the draft. I really do. I think that it's paramount to this draft to grab a wide receiver, to have a young guy, not a 7th rounder, not a 6th rounder, not a 5th rounder, like a 3rd round guy that, you guys know I like Brendan Rice. I mean, I don't know who doesn't. Xavier Legette. I don't think that he's going to last past the second round. But I think if you pick up a big body guy like that, 6'3", 6'2", 6'3", 6'4", someone that weighs, 220, 218, 225, 4'5", 4'45", 4'4" speed. They can spread the field. I mean, I think that's what we're looking for. We're looking for a boundary guy, somebody that can go up and get the ball in the back of the end zone. Mike P says, let me try to rewrite that. Will, you working hard, buddy. Sometimes when you deal with numbers and people don't understand numbers, it makes it much harder. Great job, buddy. Thanks for all the information. I'm trying, man. I'm trying to give you guys the best I can. Not everybody will agree. There's trolls out there. I see them. I don't let them get under my skin. Once in a while it'll happen, but that stuff don't bother me, man. Whether people are whatever, just being trolls to be trolls because they're pissed off about something. I don't know. I'm not going to let life get to me like that. It's too precious. Let's have fun with it. Try to keep it as light in the air. Let me get this thing off the screen. I'm sorry. One other thing. So yeah, that's our 4-2-5 setup. That's what I'm seeing right now. And then if we were to take Amik out and then Brian Branch up into the slot, where'd my other guy go? Did I delete him? Where'd Barnes go? I don't know where he went. Now you guys are seeing my work. All right, we'll get this off the screen. But anyway, Barnes would slide in there. Obviously, he would slide, Campbell in the middle, Anzalone, Barnes right here. I think that he's right now the starting right side linebacker, starting Will potentially. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I think that sky's the limit for this defense right now because we got a great start in free agency. Again, if Brad Holmes does his homework, which we know he does, and he hits this draft again, I think that if you're grabbing two impact players, I said that we needed two a while ago. I think now that we grabbed DJ Reader and expecting him to play, you can still get away with two. So that's a first and a second round guy that just needs to be able to play and play at a high level. And look, I don't think he's had less than two in any draft. Whether it's picking early or later in a round, Brad Holmes has shown us that he can find guys late in the draft. Middle round, even the last day, he's found guys that can suit up. Malcolm Rodriguez in his first draft, what was he, a 5th round pick, 6th round pick? I can't remember now. The guy came in and hip checked Jason Kelsey in one of the first games, and had a great game. He was one of the highest graded rookie linebackers that entire season. Now, he got backseated last year after taking Jack Campbell, but he still had a very important role on this team. And now that, we're losing a couple of guys, you're going to see more work out of Malcolm Rodriguez this year. Warren King, I don't think that Powers Johnson's going to fall all the way to 2.9. There's some teams out there that need centers. And right now he's the highest graded. Doesn't mean that won't change. Before the draft, I don't see him slip into 29. I really don't. I'd be really surprised. But that would be a nice pickup, getting somebody that can play guard, but is a center. And when Ragnow's ready to hang it up, he's ready to hang it up. Uperlight says Brendan Rice was incredible in person at the combine. That's right. You got to see him. His dad, Jerry Rice, was there too. The GOAT. Seth Floyd, Brendan Rice definitely has the good genes. He does. Last year, I wanted Rashee Rice, and for some reason, I thought that there was a bloodline there. There's not. There's no lineage at all. But you've seen what Rashee Rice did last season, as a 4th round pick and helped the Chiefs win the Super Bowl. There's a reason why I scouted that guy heavily in my first real season of doing it, but not in person, just through tape. And I thought that he was going to be an exciting guy. And he was, man. He was able to spread that field. Oh, yeah, Amon-Ra, 5th round. Crazy. Or was it 4th? It's 4th round, wasn't it? I can't remember. Too many numbers going through my head. Either way, I mean, the dude is the best wide receiver on the team and a top 5 wide receiver in the league. Yeah, 4th round, round 4, pick 5. Man, he looks so different in his picture of USC. That's funny. But that's why I also like Brendan Rice, man. USC always seems to turn out some good wide receivers. Lone Wolf, what's my thoughts on Amik Robertson? I like the pick or pick up. I do like him, and I do believe that he is going to be an upgrade over what we had on this team. You guys know that I'm all about the measurables and height, arm length, all that stuff. Weight, everything matters to me. And the fact that he's 5'9" is he's reported in some places, 5'8" is reported in others. He actually has decent weight to him. I think he's about 186 for being, a little bit on the shorter side. Or vertically challenged, however you like to refer to it. But the fact that he does it in the NFL at a high level, I'm not worried about the height. He's already proven that he can do it. It's not going to change from team to team. It would have changed from college to the NFL, and he's proven himself. So I'm not worried. I think that it is a nice little upgrade for the Lions. I think he's going to have a fairly decent season, getting a lot of action coming out of the slot, because we do run five DBs quite a bit. Now, last year, one interesting point, and then I'll go back to the chat, is the 4-2-5 defense. So I love the 4-2-5, out of the 4-3 base front. And the reason why is because it is so simplistic. The 4-2-5 defense, it can be way overcomplicated, just like anything else. And so can the 4-3. But you can really simplify the 4-2-5 and make it, fundamentally different in different, fronts and schemes, that you're applying to the 4-2-5. And what you'll notice is when Aaron Glenn was having trouble this last season, he got out of the 4-3. I was begging for the 4-2-5 for a long time, and then he finally started to utilize it. And the minute he started to utilize it, we started to have a lot more success. And the reason why, and I don't know this for a fact, but this is my opinion, is that he simplified it. He put him in the 4-2-5, put more speed on the field, and simplified it. You get rid of all the crazy coverage assignments, and everyone's just got a lane to protect. Everyone's got a little zone to protect, and you let it be. Now, our DB still got torched, but this year I think that'll be different. I think that we're going to be able to run a true 4-3 scheme, or true 4-3 front, the way it's designed. Now that we're in the 4th season with a lot of the same players, I think that they're going to get more creative. I really do. There was another comment in here. Chris, let's see. Chris Time says, everyone in the chat, tell all of your Lions Pride buddies about this great show so we can get this awesome show more subscribers. One Pride. Appreciate that, Chris. You know what's funny is someone on Twitter put out best Lions shows, like best Lions fan channel or whatever on YouTube. I didn't expect to get any votes or anything. I've only been doing this for a year. Hold on a sec. And right now I'm second. I'm second in votes. And that's out of everybody. That's all the different channels out there. And I never would have expected it. Crunch Time, the newest channel that's been added, they're crushing it. Obviously, they come from a big backing of Woodward Sports, so you've got all those, subscribers and that behind them, but they also do an excellent job. So shout out to them right now. I'm coming for you. Don't worry. I got something planned. I'm a one-man show. I don't got 4, but I'll get you. I promise. Either way, it's all fun. It's all love. We all need to get along. Let's see here. No excuses, Lone Wolf says, for Aaron Glenn. I agree with that. Warren King says he's hoping for Fontenot or Powers. Oh, I went over that one already. Fontenot's another one that I don't think that he's going to slip. He's getting a lot of love right now. A lot of love. Bobby Krills has been watching for a few months. First time commenting. I just watched DJ's presser. Oh my God. Amazing press conference. You can really feel his hunger. DJ. Hold on a second here. There we go. Yeah, DJ Reader, solid dude. A very, very solid dude. I didn't get a chance to watch all of it. I kind of fell asleep during it, but he's definitely somebody that feeds off the energy, right? He likes to feel comfortable, and he's around people that he feels like he can do his thing and be supported. And I think that's big. And it's the same thing that Davenport said. Same exact thing, just said differently, that they feel supported to do their thing. And the one thing that I took away from Davenport, which I thought was huge, is that he felt now that he doesn't need to try to be the guy. He just needs to have a role. That's exactly what Aaron Glenn and Dan Campbell were preaching all last season, that these guys just needed to do their job, just do their role, whatever's being asked of them. Don't worry about the stats. Don't worry about being a selfish guy. Just do your job. That's it. Everything else will happen for you. This is not about individuals anymore. This is about the team. And maybe that's why we don't see some of the bigger names come to us. Maybe they're more about their individual sacks and, stats or whatever, and they don't fit that mold that they're looking for. They need someone that can just focus on the team and only the team and be a hive defense again. We've been there at times, and then we get away from it. So I thought that was huge for Davenport to say that. Braylon Dennis says, my facial expression doesn't look happy. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm tired, man. I'm exhausted. Eric thinks that Brendan Rice is third round. That's where I had him pegged. I think he's moving up a little bit. He might crack the second round. We'll see. We'll see who's there when we're there. Mark Smithson says Frank cannot play 17 games. He needs games off in the regular season. He definitely has his times rest. That's for sure. And I'm really worried about. I'm really worried about his foot, and that whole plantar thing that he's got going on that doesn't have any cartilage left. It always sidelines him for, a little bit of time every year, where he starts battling it like by week 4. And it's kind of what started to take him out last year and every year. Bobby Crow says this culture is incredible. It is. And I think that that's the one thing that we can't get away from. Yeah, it's Braylon Dennis second so far. I'll be first. I promise you. I'll get there. Chris Time says Michigan rookie is going to be all over this NFL this year. Yeah, you guys have 18 guys coming out, right? 18. Yeah, I don't know about that chaotic 3-7. He's just a good dude, He's just a happy-go-lucky kind of guy. Matter of fact, he kind of reminded me of Broderick Martin, to be honest with you. Davenport did. Like, they almost look like they could be brothers. Like, seriously. It's like same face. So I thought that was kind of funny. Who is the next sleeper wide receiver like the Rams got with Puka? Ooh, I don't know, man. The Lions are right there. We could have had Puka. We literally could have had Puka last year. But we traded all those picks to move up and grab Broderick. Now that's food for somebody, who I'm talking about. When I went through all those picks of who could we have had, like who could have been better than Broderick, there was a couple of names. They weren't defense, but there was a couple of names. Puka was one of them. Mike P says, what's my feeling on Darius Robinson overall as a pick? I like him. I do. Look, he didn't blow us away at the combine. He did not give us what we were hoping to see, which was more speed. But being off the edge is not always about speed. And in Davenport spoke to that too. It's not, it's not all about getting to the quarterback. Sometimes it's just about doing your part, protecting your zone. Last year I said Aiden needed to stay in his box, and if he would just stay in his box, everything would be okay. And he stayed in his box that game. I don't remember what game it was. It was in a pre-show, and he had a great game. You got to stop the outside. It had to have been against one of the, it had to be against like Justin Fields or something. One of the mobile quarterbacks. Because that was our biggest problem is Hutch, he gets too deep too quick, and it lets people get by him. He just needed to stay in that zone. But Davenport said the same thing today. He said, it's not always about getting to the quarterback. And I assume what he means by that, it's just, playing your role, being in your position, protecting your zone, or protecting your gap, whatever gap assignment it is. Lions do the gap and a half assignment now. And it'll lend to better results as a team, not independently, but as a team. So I think that speaks volumes to his mental awareness of where this team and this defense is trying to go. And what Dan Campbell is trying to promote is team effort, not individual effort. Be an individual, right? Be yourself, work hard, earn it, go do it, but do it as a team. Work for each other. Who cares about the sacks? Nobody cares. What we care about is hoisting the Lombardi Trophy. And the teams that have that one vision together will get there. And you don't always have to have the best players. We've seen it out of the Chiefs this last year. You can't tell me that was the best team in the league. It wasn't. Not even close. And I think that's a telling story that the best team in the league did not win the Super Bowl. They won the Super Bowl, so they're called the best team. But they, from a roster standpoint, not even close were they the best team. And it's because they made the plays when they needed to make the plays. They were well coached. They were disciplined in their assignments and their details. And that led to more wins. And it led to one more win than everybody else. Xavier Worthy, amazing speed. I think he's a little thin, but he could be somebody for someone. I'm not so solid on him just yet. I do love his speed, but speed's not everything. And he does have great hands. I'll give him that. I watched a lot of tape on him. I just don't know. I don't know what he belongs in yet. Like, I think he's exciting. I just don't know what type of receiver he's going to be yet. And will he be able to work over the middle? Right now, he's kind of the boundary guy, going deep. And that works in with the right quarterback and the right, offensive scheme. But if he's not able to work over the middle, I think that could hurt his stock a little bit. I would agree, Peter, that this draft is great for wide receiver needs, especially into the third round. Same thing for offensive line. I think that well into the third round, you still have some really good options. 313, no word on Chase Young through me. Not at all. There you go. Jomo Lion King says, run the ball, stop the run, protect the quarterback. Those are the three elements of the win, right? Protect your guy throwing you the ball, stop their run, and run it down their throat. Absolutely. Braylon Dennis, Puka, and St. Brown on our team. Man, yeah, that would have been game over. Absolutely. C. Klaus says multiple lines that Broderick Martin was the funniest on the team. Well, right now we need Broderick Martin to stay funny, but he needs to be out there working his butt off. And the feeling that I'm getting, though, from the guys that we're bringing in, and I don't know how to say this the right way, so if it comes off the wrong way, don't take it the wrong way. I feel like Brad and Dan want the guys that, they might be individuals, but they're guys that they can sink their hooks into and get them to do and buy into what they want them to do. Does that make sense? Whereas some guys are alphas. These guys are not so much alphas. Now, they're, absolute awesome athletes. And they're probably alphas in their own life, but not on the football field. They're more manageable. They're more impressionable. They're coachable. They're trainable. They're likable. Right? They're a perfect situation for a good salesperson. If they're coachable, trainable, likable, you can get them to sell anything for you. I feel the same way about the guys that we're bringing in. It's, these guys don't have that moxie or that attitude that would butt heads, with a coach or, an assistant coach or any of the players. So it's working. Whatever it is, it's working. We've made leaps and bounds year over year. Kool-Aid drinkers, there you go. Yep, Reeder and Davis have Super Bowl experience. Davis has 1 ring. Chris Time says that's what they do. They listen. Mike P says they want guys whose egos don't get in the way. Yep, that's a good way to say it. Peter Van Larhoven says, my dream would be a trade down with Carolina getting 33 and 102 for 29. That's a pretty good trade. Maybe we should do a post free agency frenzy mock draft just to screw around. Let's throw one up. Let's have a little fun with it. Get rid of all this other stuff. Let's see how I haven't done one in a while, so we'll see. Let's see how it's going. All the changes. Let's see here. All right, let's slim that down a little bit. What's going on there? Oh, there we go. I think that's all right. Okay, let's get into this thing. Hold on here. I want to be able to see all the other ones. There we go. Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, Malik Neighbors, Marvin Harrison, JJ McCarthy. Yeah, I don't see how that's possible. Dallas Turner, Brock Bowers, Romeo Dunze. So not much has changed, but JJ McCarthy up in the top 10, that's surprising. It does look like a couple of guys have fallen. So Fontenot, he's at 24, Jackson Powers at 21. I really do feel like that's kind of where they're going to be. Like somewhere in that top 25-ish. But right now we have Tyler Nubin, Peyton. I can see Peyton Wilson, Ladd McConkey. So Ladd McConkey, didn't he just have like some crazy pro day? I don't know that I would take Ladd McConkey, though. I would take Zach Frazier in a heartbeat. 6'3", 310. Background is a wrestling champion, so he's got good hands. What it says here is he has the perfect background for an interior offensive lineman. He was a 4-time state wrestling champion in high school. That's huge, man. So he what they're saying is he has really good core strength, good body control, good forearm grip strength, allows him to latch on to defenders. I mean, you don't want to get a flag, but really good flexibility. They even call it impressive. And how he can get low to consistently win, at the leverage, which, I mean, that's great. He's got short arms though. That's going to be the knock. How short? Let's find out. You think I would know these by now? Oh, you know what? I have a whole Excel spreadsheet. I put everybody's sizes together. You know what? Let me pull that up. Let me pull it up. You guys are going to think I'm crazy. Watch me show you this. You're going to think I'm nuts. This is how I do it, man. This is how I keep all my information in front of me. You probably can't read that. Let me make it a little bigger. But I have everybody. I have all of their heights, their weights, their times, all of their sizes. This was not prepared anywhere. I prepared it. And it helps me to stay involved in, you know, where these guys are. Now I'm going to go through and pick all of my guys from here. So let me see. Zach Frazier is right here, 78 and 4/8 wingspan. Arm length is 32 and a quarter. So that's not extremely short. For me, the guard cutoff is 33 inches, but he's got 10 and a half inch hands. Those are monstrous hands. That means that he can hold a football no problem. So I don't think that he has short arms. Based on his measurements and his hand size, I think he's fine for a guard. He's not a tackle, but he's fine for a guard, and he's definitely fine for a center. Now, this one says that he's 6'2". So wherever I pulled this information from, PFF says he's 6'3". So I don't know who's right or who's wrong. But I would take Zach Frazier in a heartbeat. And let's look at a couple other ones. Thanks, Mark. It's just, and Michael, it's all about, and Lone Wolf. It's all about being prepared, right? When I want information and I want information for you guys, I have to have it. You know, if you guys are asking me questions about stuff, I don't want to try to fumble through it. I want to try to get it for you. But this is how I can figure out who are my top picks just based on size. And then I go and whittle it down through the tape and see where they're going to, end up, from my opinion. Doesn't mean that they're always going to be there. All right. So we've got Zach Frazier, Kool-Aid McKinstry, Brandon Fisk right there in the middle of the 40s, like I thought that he would be. Chop is still in the middle of the 40s. Darius is now in the middle of the 40s. He was up at the very top. Now, I put this a little bit stronger towards PFF's board as opposed to public, so that, let's just call it for what it is. The public, us, we pick based on who we like. I think PFF picks more based on the needs analysis and the measurements and everything else and the testing scores and then, the needs for the team. So I try to skew it just a little bit away from the public so that we have a better option, right? So let's see what we got for trades. We got one trade option. Ooh, Atlanta at 43. I wouldn't be mad at that. You're going to miss out on Kool-Aid for sure, but you'll have a shot at Chop Robinson. You'll have a shot at Darius Robinson, maybe. Let's see what they would offer at least. We'd have to give up 29. See, then their next pick is 74, and that just doesn't excite me. That doesn't excite me at all. Let's go back to trade. Let's see if we can stay within the top 36. What does Washington have? So Washington has a 36 and a 40. I doubt that they would give up both of them. But if we wanted to at least move up and go 36 and 40 for 29 and 61, and then, hey, you got to give us 100, I would do that. And they don't like it. Not even close. All right. Let's just go down to 102. Not even close. Let's go to 67. Well, they don't like anything, apparently. So that's not going to happen. We'll try one more. Otherwise, we'll just pick. Arizona, they've got 35 and 66. Let's give them. It just sucks for missing that other third round pick. Let's give them Philly's 4th next year. Nope. So I want that third round pick back. Bad. All right, 90. Wow, that's a terrible trade. We'll roll with it. All right, so we still got everybody on the board. Who do you guys want to draft? We don't have Kool-Aid, though. I think he's gone. Yeah, he looks like he's gone. He went to... Yeah, both of those corners went right there, 29 and 30. So here's what I'm thinking. And maybe we'll do another one. So here's what I'm thinking. They went out and got corners. I expect them to grab a corner. Let's just say it's probably not going to be the first round, because now they've got a starting left corner or right corner, depending where Davis goes. We've got a starting nickel corner, and we still have Brian Branch, and we have 2 really good safeties. So I think right now the DB room is pretty set for starters. It will need depth, and I think that Brad's going to be smart and try to grab a depth guy, maybe in the 2nd round, potentially a 3rd round pick that's still pretty darn good. And if he does that, then I think it opens up the front end to edge rusher and offensive line with the first 2 picks, or between the first 3 picks. I think that would be it. Do you guys agree or disagree with that logic? Alpha Gridiron thinks we're going, inside guard first. So we're at pick 36 here. It's our first pick. We trade, or 35. We traded back a little bit. Jomo thinks that we're going to keep our pick because it's in Detroit. I don't think that Brad cares. I really don't. You know what? That would be an interesting exercise. Let's go see who hosted the draft and traded out of their first round pick and didn't have a first round pick. I think that would be interesting. And who's to say that Brad doesn't cash in 2025 and say, you know what? I'll move back, but I'm going to move up too. And maybe he cashes in some future picks. I think it would be completely asinine, but he could probably do it. Let's go with the edge rusher because we need one. And where is Darius? Oh, Darius went at 34. So we lost out on the 3 top guys that I would have taken. So now what do you do? Do you take Chop? Do you take Braden? Who do you take? Fisk over Chop. You like that hustle, huh? All right. Chop. Braswell. Fisk over Chop. So we got 2 for Chop. Braswell. That's 1 for Braswell, 1 for Fisk, 2 for Chop. Let's get a couple more votes in there. Is there any way we could trade our 1st and 2nd round picks and end up with 12 4th round picks? That would be crazy. You know that there's a limit. I will take Fisk, even though he's got short arms. We'll take Fisk in this one. Do you know there's a limit to draft picks per year? I don't know the limit, but I heard that there's a limit. I think it's 14. I think the most you can have is 14 picks or something, or 12 picks in the draft. All right, pick number 2. We got an edge rusher, and there's Marshawn Nealand. We could probably grab another one. I think that our defensive line will be set for a while, and we definitely don't need a Trevonde Sweat now that we have DJ Reader. So he's off the list. I would be surprised if they grabbed another interior defensive lineman. So we got Marshawn Nealon to edge. I do think that he's a very intriguing prospect. But I'm almost thinking offensive line here or wide receiver. Like if he's going to go wide receiver, this is the pick to do it between this one and 73. Because you have Brendan Rice. You have, where's Xavier Legette? Did he already go way early? He did. He went at 59. 2 picks before us. Top guard, let's see what we got. You've got Christian Haynes, and looking on my sheet here, Christian Haynes. There's Mahogany. Christian Haynes, 33.5-inch arms, 9-inch hands, 6'2", 317 pounds, runs a 40 and a 5.03, almost an 80-inch wingspan, so pretty big wingspan. So he's a good pick. He fits the prototypical size. He's a little bit short. I mean, I would love these guards to be a little bit taller. You know, if you look at the guards that we've had, you know, they've mostly been around that 6'5" range. Christian Mahogany, the next best one, but he's ranked at 88, so I think that we could take him later. So it's either Christian Haynes or, you know, we find a tackle that we can move to guard. I don't know anything about Kieran at this point. He's a new name. I have not seen him. And Blake Fisher. Blake Fisher is actually pretty decent. Notre Dame puts out good prospects. 6'6", 312 pounds. 2-year starter at right tackle. He wins with both power as a run blocker and a pass blocker. He has a wide, strong body base that allows him to generate a ton of power through his lower half, making for an impactful punch at contact. The short blurb on him is Fisher has the power to play at the pro level, but needs to get quicker to his landmarks. He also needs to be more patient and balanced in his strikes to not be susceptible to NFL level speed. He has starter potential. So for that reason, if he's lacking speed on the outside, then that would tell me that he could slide in as an inside guard. A lot of tackles will do that. So for that reason, I think I would take Fisher over the guard that was available because he has bigger size. And let me look at my sheet real quick. I just want to see his arm length. And Blake Fisher, wow, 34 and 3/8-inch arms, big arms. So I like it. 83-inch wingspan, 10-inch hands. It's a big dude. So I do like Fisher, but we can probably get him with the next pick. Let's see, where was he? He was, let me do that again. He was down in the 70s, I thought. 74. We could potentially get him with the next pick. Would you risk it for the biscuit? Or would you go back and take somebody else like Marshawn Nealon to make sure that we have our edge taken care of? Burton. Who said Burton? Jermaine Burton. I want to say I just saw something pop up on Burton today. He's only 6 foot, so he's a little bit shorter. I think the Lions are looking for a taller guy. I really do. I don't think they're looking for another slot guy. He's got great numbers, though. Who else is available? Let's look and see what other white receivers are available. Brendan Rice is down there at 79. I don't know that I would risk losing Brendan Rice. I would rather risk losing Brendan Rice than an offensive tackle, though, just to be honest with you, because I think our offense is fairly set. But 6'3", 210 and the bloodline is exactly, why I would want to see him there. Here's my only question, though. Does Jerry Rice install some fear in coaches and in teams and say, look, I don't want my son playing for your team. Don't draft him. Does he do that, you think? I wonder if he does. I don't even know where they live. I don't know if they live out in California or what, but Devontae Walker is another one that's on my list. I do like him. He's a little bit shorter than what I was hoping, but this dude's a playmaker, big time playmaker. So I think we'll go with the tackle. Let's see if one of these receivers is left. I don't want to take a shot on losing an option at a starting quality tackle that can be a guard, and then you have someone that has tackle experience that slides in at guard. That solidifies our left guard or our right guard position wherever he's more comfortable, because Graham Glasgow can do both. So Brendan Rice is still there. Gabriel Murphy's a nice pickup on the edge. Mason McCormick is a good guard. Sion Vaki is giving us that safety option that we're looking for. All right, so our third pick, we already have an offensive tackle, and Braden Fisk, I believe, was our first pick. So we do have, a defensive line guy that can also be, an edge rusher. Who are we looking at here? I think that we could still address offensive line or wide receiver or edge rusher again. I think Gabriel Murphy is going to surprise some people. I really do. He wins his pass rush. He's awesome in the true pass set. 8.4% run stop rate. Plays all over the line, but outside the tackle is what I like to see. 6'3", 260, so he's got good size. He projects as a specialized outside linebacker type of edge rusher. So imagine James Houston. He's a little bit undersized for the position they're saying, but I don't see that to be the case. I mean, if you go and look at a lot of the guys that were just taken in free agency, a lot of these outside linebacker type edge rushers are right around this size. Might be too much of a risk, though. So we're at pick 73. We have pick 90 right around the corner. What do you guys want to do? Wide receiver? Find another offensive tackle or guard? I would stay away from Johnny Wilson. I think he's way too tall. Yeah, that's just my personal opinion. I don't think that he's going to project well at the next level. I mean, he's a nice player in college. He definitely can run a heck of a lot better than what I expected that, big, tall, lanky wide receiver to run, but he's not big enough to be a tight end. With his size, his height, looks like he's gone. He's already gone. So we got Brendan Rice at pick 73. That takes care of our wide receiver room. Kamara. He's down at 126, so we could probably get him with the next pick. I wouldn't want to reach too far. Brandon Dorloose, I'm not high on him, and I think that we just solidified our defensive line. So for that reason, I think I'd stay away from him. Take a flyer on Rice. All right, Rice or Cameron Kinchins. I wasn't a big fan of his tape. I think I'd stay away from him, even though a lot of people do like him. We do need a linebacker. We absolutely do need a linebacker. And Jeremiah Trotter is sitting there. They say he has an incredibly high football IQ, which allowed him to become a starting linebacker at Clemson as a true sophomore. He is fundamentally sound run defender who stays disciplined in his gaps and square to the ball carrier. We were just talking about that, right? Being disciplined in your gaps. In coverage, he has good eyes and instincts, which allows him to cover multiple receivers who pass through his area, cross his face and jump passes. Unfortunately, his measurables are not usually conducive to success in the NFL. Well, if that's the case, his smaller arms make it tougher to wrap up against bigger, better ball carriers. His weight means that offensive linemen can move him in the run blocking schemes. His pursuit speed will also likely be below average. All right. If you're not prototypical size in the measurements, I'm probably going to have to pass. We still need another cornerback. So what about Renardo Green? 6 foot, 186, prototypical size. Let me get over to my list here. Look at his arms. Oh, that's right. I don't got cornerbacks done. Cornerbacks are not done for me yet. So let me look them up another way. Renardo Green has 31.25-inch arms. That's pretty good. 9 1/8-inch hands, 186 pounds, 6 foot. Ran a 4.49, so he's not blazing fast, but you don't have to be if you have good football IQ. A 1.53 split, which is really good. 37.5-inch jump, which means he's got pop. And a 10 foot 10-inch broad, which means he's got really good lateral quickness and short area burst. That's what those two measurements mean to me. So I do like his measurables. I don't know a ton on him. He'll be the next Micah Parsons. You think that about Trotters? All right, so there's our choices. I think we have either Renardo Green, Brendan Rice, or even taking another guard and going with Christian Mahogany. He grades out pretty well. And as far as his arm length, let's make sure that he at least is close. Mahogany has 33.5-inch arms. So he's got the arm length. He's got 10-inch hands. He's pretty decent 40, which doesn't really matter. And he's 6'4" at 314 pounds. So if we're worried about keeping this offensive line together and growing, and I know we just tendered Awosika today, that's an option for us. Maybe we can get him at pick 90. But if we do, who are we going to look at pick 73 is the question. So Christian Mahogany, Renardo Green, cornerback, Brennan Rice, wide receiver. I'm sure Zinter is somewhere around here, but I don't know that I would be taking Zach Zinter. His measurables are not great. He's somewhere in the middle of the draft at 156. And Zach Zinter's measurables, he has 33.5-inch arms, which are good. 6'5", 81-inch wingspan, 9-inch hands. So his measurables are fine. Maybe it was Nugent. I'm sorry. Nugent didn't have the best measurables, not Zinter. But you can get him way later, so I wouldn't want to reach for him. And I don't think that we need a running back. I think we're good there. Tampa's been gone. We'll look again. These are your best options right here. We do got Max Belton there at 99, so we can get him at pick 92, potentially. He could fly off the board in the next 20 picks. And you've got Jerry and Jones, Renardo Green, Andrew Phillips, 6', 187. I mean, we still have McLaughlin. We still have Kamal Hayden later on in the draft. Abrams' drain is dropping big time. I do like Cam Hart. I watched his tape the other day. Really like Cam Hart. So it is possible to get, our next cornerback in the next round, but we don't have a second, third round pick. That's the problem. We gave it up. We had to trade to get one. And we don't have a fourth round pick. So why don't we do this? Why don't we take a trade offer? Since we're making this too difficult, let's take a trade offer. Let's back it up to 87. I think that's too far. I think 87 is too far. Let's just roll with it. We're going to go 87. And, they don't have another pick inside 164. So, nope, not doing that. Cowboy, I wouldn't want to trade with the Cowboys anyway. Let's see. Broncos, who do you have? 76 and 121. Wow, it's 73% chance it's not getting taken. That's interesting. All right, let's draft. Let's draft around the clock. We got to get it moving. So we're gonna roll Brendan Rice. We're gonna see if we can get a cornerback later. And there goes Trotter, 88. Mahogany, darn it, gone. Green, gone. Let's see. So not too bad. We still have Jarian Jones, Sion Vaki, which we do need another safety. Max Melton, and we might be able to get Kamala Hayden or McLaughlin at 164, but I want to move that pick up. So I definitely want to move that pick up. Is there anybody that I have to take? Sion Vaki is probably the only one. Let's see here. Let's see if I can move 103 up by trading 164. You guys would probably kill me for doing this, but did we trade our second pick, 4th round pick for next year? We did, didn't we? Where's our second 4th round pick in 25? I thought we had 2 4ths. I must be missing something here. Who did we trade it to? We had 2/3 this year. Yes, 2/3 this year, but next year we had 2 4ths. It would have been for, wasn't it DeAndre Swift? A Philly 4th next year? I thought we had a Philly 4th. Is there something that we're missing? I mean, did something happen? And I don't think that I don't see the other 6th round picks obviously added to this yet. Now, I'm going to be dumb and do this because I really want to move up and grab somebody. So I'm going to trade 164 and 205 to move up to 103. I really don't want to give up that 4th. No, they're not going to take it. I can't do it. It's just too much. It's too much. So Sion Vaki, Max Melton. What are you guys thinking? Jarian Jones, another guard, Mason McCormick. Mason McCormick, prototypical size, 6'4", 309, 33 and 7/8 inch arms. So nice arms, 10-inch hands. Safety. Peter says safety. I do like Sion Vaki. What about Kalen Bullock? 6'3", 190. Damn, he's big. A little light in the weight. He can add some weight, I'm sure. He didn't seem to have the best grades, though. Run defense grade. That's not going to fly for Brad Holmes. I understand it's just college. It may not translate. His run defense grade's a little bit better, but not much. What about this Taylor? He's got good grades. I don't know anything about him, though. And he's short. Not that short guys can't win, because they can. Or vertically challenged guys. Tight end, we could use another tight end. And, the guy that I like is Theo. And he's back there at 149. So he's going to be gone by the time we pick at 164. I think that's why it's so critical that Brad Holmes adds a pick between 90 and 150. Like right there between 120, 130. He has to add another pick there. And I think that he really needs to add another 2nd round pick somehow, a 2nd and a 4th. If he can add a 2nd and a 4th in this draft, man, we would be set. And I don't know why he doesn't. Like, just build the team now. That's all I'm asking for, is just go all in on one draft. Just get us the guys that we need. I don't think that I can pass on the guard. I think Mason McCormick is way too good. And for that reason, I think I have to take him. But let me see if I can just do one trade just to try to make us have another option. I hope that Mason McCormick isn't gone, though. So let's see who's in here. Cincy. Cincy needs defensive line pretty bad now, don't they? 97 for 90. But I also want your 115. Nope, you're not going to give it to me. 149. Yep, you'll give it to me. 194. Probably not. What about 237? All right, they didn't take it. So how about you give me 237 and I'll give you 249. So at least I move up a little bit. There we go. All right, let's see what we were left with. I think we still, oh boy. Cialan Vaki just win at 96. Mason McCormick and my other guy, Matt Goncalves, and Cedric Van Pran all went. And I think that that's telling. You know, I really do. I think that that's telling us where we need to be, which is inside pick 90. I think was huge, and giving up that third round pick this year. That's why I wasn't so happy about that trade. But I'm all in. I'm good. I'm all in. We'll be fine. So I think for that reason, now we have to take Max Melton. Yeah, McCormick is a good pick. This one we're just having fun with. We're just trying to figure out who's available, where they're going to be, and then I can cheat the system on the next one. Dominic Pooney is another guy I like, but his numbers didn't seem to be the greatest. Let me check my sheet here. Why is he not listed on my sheet? Oh, that's because I got him listed as a guard. So he's got decent everything. I mean, 10-inch hands, good arms, 33 3/8, nice wingspan, 6'5", 313. He's got really good grades. So I can't pass on another option here at tackle guard. So Max Melton, I'll let you guys pick it. Jerry and Jones, Max Melton, or guard, tackle guard. Which one do you think would be the best? Can you put specific players to specific teams? Yeah, if I were to pick for everybody, I could. Pooney is a tackle, but I think that he's going to project better as a guard. Max it is. First vote gets it. Man, this wait is way too long. So many good players. All right, well, there's Theo staring me right in the face. I can't walk away from Theo. I think the Lions would definitely pick him up. I hope they do. Solidifies the tight end for a long time coming. Mike Mustafa is a great pickup right here. Let's see if Kamal Hayden is still around. And he is at 190. So he'll be gone before 201. That's a heck of a reach. I don't care what the grade says at all. Like, I don't care what the grade says about my draft. I don't think it really matters. I mean, we know it doesn't matter. This guy's a thumper, like an absolute thumper. He's a little bit on the shorter side, though, but he's proven himself. Just not at the next level. Man, do the Lions take Hendon Hooker's partner there and Joe Milton and round out the quarterback tree? Joe Milton's a pretty good quarterback. Big dude. I wouldn't say I'd be surprised. Drake Nugent as a center. He's the one that, yeah, he was kind of short, 6'2", 301. I would pass on him. He's too small. Frank Ragnow's 6'5". Miles Murphy, defensive line, I don't think we need. So this is where the draft just falls apart. 1,000% falls apart. All right. I think I'm just going to pull the trigger on Kamal Hayden because I think he's a pretty darn good corner. And again, I wouldn't be surprised if the Lions take a quarterback, develop 2 rookies, Hendon's basically a rookie this year, and another one, fill the pipeline. Tanner Bortolini, I think, is going to be a phenomenal player at the next level. I really do. I think he's going to surprise a lot of people. He does a terrible grade in 2023. Pretty stiff competition in 2023 too. And Wisconsin didn't have the greatest team. So it's not like he had, a lot of guys around him to help him out. But 6'4", 310. And when you look at his overall grades here, he's got really short arms but big hands. You can get away with short arms as a center. You really can't as a guard. So I think it's tough to take him again just because of that. Dylan McMahon, I do like him. Short arms, though, is the problem. But man, their tape is pretty darn good. All right, we gotta pick the rest of these ones. So, Will, if JJ McCarthy is available at 29, do you think? Right? No, I don't. We don't need another quarterback. I think that we need another quarterback for depth. To have somebody kind of sitting there in case somebody gets hurt. But I think that JJ is going to go to a team and start. I don't think that it would be good for him to sit. I think that JJ could really benefit from having a year to sit. But something tells me a quarterback needy team is going to take him. And I wouldn't even be surprised if it is the Patriots. Another Michigan guy, projects just like Tom Brady. Spins the ball really well. I'm kind of stuck here on who to take. So the last few grades here are going to be terrible. We do need a kicker. Will he take one? Man, this draft is terrible at the end. And I think we're adding 2 more 6th-round picks. So does Brad trade 237 and those 2 6th-round picks that we just acquired, or at least one of them this year and one of them next year, and try to move up? I hope so, because this is where we got problems. Brennan Jackson, don't know anything about the guy. Edge rusher, 6'4", 264. Best player available. Got to take him. And he fits a need. Camp competition. Frank Gore. Why not? Great grades. The dude could come in and knock it out the park. Land at least on the practice squad. Lions could benefit from another running back. We have Craig Reynolds, back for one more year, but what about next year? And after next year, you've got Demo up for contract. So I see the potential. If they're really going to be there this late in the draft, you got to think about the future too. And then, of course, we're going to take a kicker with the last one. I don't know if Brad's going to do that. Something tells me that they're not. But Mevis does have a boot. All right. I wasn't planning on doing this tonight, but why not? We'll have a little fun with it. So Stiggers is not in this. We got terrible grades. So Stiggers is not in this draft setup with PFF. I think he's in PFN, if I'm not mistaken. But Braden Fisk, C+, Blake Fisher, D+. Blake's going to be a baller. Brendan Rice, C+. Now, I don't care about any of these grades. The fact that I got an A for Brendan Jackson makes no sense at all. None. But let's see, just based on what we did with a couple of trades. We filled out our defensive line. He's definitely going to be a hybrid. He's got shorter arms, but his motor, his FBI, everything about Braden fits this team and culture. Just probably not at pick 35. I would say if he was your second pick, Probably. The tackle, Blake Fisher, not only can he play in a swing tackle position, but I think he'll project better as a guard. Could be a left guard, and having a bigger, taller, meaner left guard would be very beneficial to this Lions offense. Brendan Rice, again, we need a field stretcher, and Brendan Rice is a field stretcher, or Brendan Rice. He's a field stretcher. Max Melton, great combine, a great workout, fluid hips, loved what he did. I think that this guy is going to turn out to be something at the next level. The Lions need to fill out their depth in the cornerback room, and they definitely need to have somebody that's a little bit taller. Theo Johnson. I mean, I don't know why this wouldn't be a perfect pick at 149, or, if he did slip to 164, you've got to take him. To have another guy that really does project similarly to Sam Laporta in almost every way. I'm not saying he's going to come out and be Sam Laporta, but Brock Wright, we only got him for one more year. Mitchell hasn't shown us anything. And what's the other guy's name? Zylstra, coming off a nasty injury. I think that you bring in a Theo Johnson if he's there, especially at this area of the draft. And now you have really good camp competition, and the bottom guy's out. I mean, you're not losing anything by Zylstra or, not making the team. You're really not. What are you losing? Hardly anything. So I think it's a great pick. And then Kamal Hayden, again, another guy that, in my opinion, he's going to be a good, solid cornerback. Do I think that he's going to be a day one starter? Probably not. Do I think that he's going to end up on a practice squad? Probably not. I think that he could potentially make a 53-man roster on day one. I did a Kamal Hayden video. I don't know how much of it got taken down because I had to fix some stuff on it because YouTube didn't like it. But let me pull up his combine. I don't think he did a lot at the combine. I can't remember now. 30 and 7/8 inch arms. He does have smaller hands, but he's 6'1", 196 pounds. So great size. He scored, 6.2, which is a starter at some point. Athleticism score was nothing crazy. And that's because he didn't do anything athletically at the combine. So his pro day is going to be the pinnacle for him of this draft. If he has a good pro day and he runs good, I think that Kamal Hayden's probably going to start flying up some charts. The other one to watch for, obviously, McGlovern. I think that dude has a pretty high ceiling as well. Brennan Jackson, I know absolutely nothing about him. He was just a BPA pick. Frank Gore, we just spoke about it. Look, the Lions are thin on running back next year. Why not get the ball rolling this year? And if he ends up to, beating out Craig Reynolds, or he gets stashed as a protected, practice squad guy, I think that having a Frank Gore bloodline and a Brendan Rice bloodline on your team would be a no-brainer. I can't remember who was Frank Gore sitting with. Was he sitting with Denver? Was he sitting with Lynch at the combine? I think he was. So Frank Gore could potentially, go to Denver. And then Harrison Mevis, we obviously need a kicker in a bad way to at least be able to kick the boot, to win some games when we need to. So anyway, what other questions? What do you guys want to talk about tonight? I don't have a huge agenda tonight. We've kind of talked it all out all week. We've had a pretty good week. One thing I do want to talk about though is Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes. So extended today. Now it only added a year to Dan Campbell's deal, I believe. So Dan Campbell, I think, was signed at a 5-year deal, and Brad Holmes, I believe, was signed to a 6-year deal. I believe. Maybe I have that wrong. Maybe they are both 5-year deals. Hey, we've got Yak Pod in the house from Australia. What's happening, man? Look, a phenomenal showing of faith by Sheila Hamp today. And I think what she did was just what this team needs to see, the fans need to see, and the right move. These guys just did something unthinkable, building the right team, getting us to the NFC title game, 30 minutes away from winning a Super Bowl in 3 seasons of turning a team around. And I know we don't have a ton of people in tonight. We've been averaging like 400 or 500 every single show, but we've done a lot of shows. I think people are Lions talked out right now. The Lions were able to turn a very disastrous situation around in 2020 to what we just witnessed in 2023. You guys have heard me say this multiple times. I'm going to have to go back and fix my numbers because I know they're wrong now because we let a few more people go. But in 2022, 85% of the roster from 2020 that they inherited was completely revamped. Guys gone. The only thing that remained this year would have been Jalen Reeves-Maybin, Taylor Decker, Jonah Jackson, Tracy Walker, Dan Skipper. There might have been a couple more. But at any rate, it was about 10, 12% of the roster or so still hung around from the Quinn Trisha era. And now that Tracy Walker's gone, so that number's starting to dwindle. There are very few. Well, Graham Glasgow's back. So, and he was picked by Quinn. So that kind of skewed the numbers a little bit. But anyway, what I'm saying is they've totally redone everything. Absolutely everything. Almost every player is brand new. Let's just say it's 10% of the roster from 2020 is now on this team, and it's largely our offensive line. So that speaks volumes to what they just did. You know, they ripped this entire team down. Oh, excuse me. All right, sorry about that. The old air compressor kicked on. So they ripped this entire team down to the mud. You know what I mean? They say the studs, but they did, man. They went all the way down to the foundation of this team. And to do that, took a lot of balls, man. A lot of planning. And not only that, but the right guy drafting and the right guy rebuilding the team. So where I'm going with this is it was well-deserved. And in what they've been able to accomplish in such a short amount of time, I don't know how often that can be done. I haven't seen it done a whole lot. So when we're in this free agency period and you don't see us, going out to grab, all of the big guys, all the big name players, there's a reason for it. And that's because we're only 4 years into a complete rebuild, 4th season. Last year I said we were half a season away, 1 draft away from Brad Holmes really being able to build us a team for the future. And I still think we're there. And the moves that he made this week, again, they may not be the most sexy moves, probably not the moves that everybody wanted. I mean, I had the positions pegged. I thought that he would cornerback for sure and defensive tackle for sure is who I thought he was going to take. Not the names that I was expecting, but he at least addressed the same positions that I felt were the biggest needs, that many others felt were the biggest needs. And at least there's some symmetry there that, the fan base is seeing some of the same stuff too. Like, I think that that's great. I think that when you're in tune with your team and you're invested into your team, you start to see a lot of the things that could potentially get better. And Brad Holmes is doing an excellent job at really setting this team up for the future. Again, not everybody is going to love it. So let's just say Warren King, Cynthia Freeland of the NFL Network analytics expert, thinks the Lions have done great in free agency so far. I can't say that I've read or watched any of her things, but I wouldn't say that she's wrong. I mean, we just added a big time impact player in the middle of this defense. And you guys know my thought process is you break the center of that offensive line, everybody else is going to be able to eat. So that's what's going to be exciting. We're finally, just remember when was our best defense? Do you guys remember what year our best defense really was? It should stick out like a sore thumb. (2014) There it is. So Lone Wolf, shout out for the 2014. Let me pull up the roster there. Let's have some fun for a minute. I think that was our best year. And let's look at some PFF while we're at it. So obviously Jim Caldwell was the head coach. We are 11-5 that season. And we had on the defensive side, Ezekiel Anza, left defensive end, Nick Fairley, left defensive tackle, and Ndamukong Suh, right defensive tackle, Jason Jones, right defensive end. Here's what we had for sacks. Ezekiel Anza, 7.5. Nick Fairley, 1. Ndamukong Suh, 8.5. Jason Jones, 5. Ashley Palmer, linebacker, 1.5. Tahir Whitehead, not a whole lot. DeAndre Levy, 2.5 sacks. James Ahedebo, strong safety, 2 sacks. So, and then you had Glover Quinn, too. 7 interceptions that season. What does it mean? What does it tell us? What's it saying? Here's what it's saying. The interior of that defensive line was stacked with Ndamukong Suh and Nick Fairley. Nick Fairley is your DJ Reader, right? Big-bodied guy, going to take up double teams quite often. Ali McNeil is our Ndamukong Suh right now, the pass rusher, the mauler. I wouldn't say either one of them is anywhere near as good as Ndamukong Suh. I'm missing that Ndamukong Suh type player. I still think that the Lions would highly benefit from finding an Ndamukong Suh type player, someone that's, bigger, stronger, faster, meaner, whatever. The point that I'm trying to make, 57. Okay. The point that I'm trying to make is the interior of the defensive line was very good. Our defensive ends, they didn't have crazy years with sacks at all, but everybody was getting their fair share. Just between our 4 starters, you had 7, 8, 16, 17. You had 22 sacks from 4 guys. 22. And Nick Fairley obviously only had 1. So 3 guys produced an average of 7 sacks apiece. Now, last year, Aiden Hutchinson had 11? Aleem had 6, or no, Aleem had 5. So that's 16. And I think that there was a handful of others spread out between the rest of the guys on the defensive line only. The right side of the defensive, like the right defensive end, which is really left, but right defensive end, didn't have a whole lot of action over there this year. But we also didn't have anybody strong on the right side of that defensive line. So both of our ends were able to have pretty decent seasons, totally different defense, different style of defense. But both of our ends were able to eat and have pretty good seasons because the middle of our defense was that good. So I think that it does. Hey, Bruce Irvin had one. That's right. Forgot. In his first game, like one of his first snaps. Yeah, it was pretty cool. I think what I'm trying to wrap this up in a bow and hand it over to you and say is look, it's a process to build, right? It's coming along. And I think that you're going to see a totally different defense this year than you did last year. Just by upgrading the center of this defense and the back end of the defense, both through free agency, I think is going to lend to a much better season than anticipated. the more that the days, pass between the shocker of what we did with Carlton Davis and giving up a 3rd-round pick, I'm slowly opening up to the fact that it was a decent pickup. I don't like the money. I don't like giving up the pick, but he is an upgrade. I think that if, he could have been a number 1, with Tampa, and now he's a number 2 with the Lions, or he's going to travel with the number 1. I think that we'll be just fine. Cam Sutton doesn't have to do it all now. And he didn't do it all. He had a terrible season. But this defensive line will allow these cornerbacks to have an easier time. We can't allow these quarterbacks to have 3+ seconds. We just can't. I would love to bring back Quandre. I know a lot of people were not so high on it, but look, the dude's got 24 interceptions. There's a reason why. He's a ball seeker. The guy attacks like a missile, man. I mean, I love what Quandre does. I hated to see when he left. I thought that he was one of our best players on defense. And he's had a good career. He would be a great signing. But when you look at our grades, like, I was surprised. Let me pull it up here. I was really surprised. When you look at Ifeatu Melifonwu, the dude's an 85.6 overall, 92 in pass rush, 80.9 in coverage. Dude, that's elite. Iffy is elite. 1,000% one of the best safeties in the league after what he did last year. His run defense was even a 67.2. Now, he only had 2 picks. He let up 70.8 passer rating. But the dude played at an elite level when he was finally instilled into the game plan. And then if you look at Kirby Joseph, which we know what he did in his rookie season. I mean, he's now turned Aaron Rodgers into a vice president candidate. Oh, the things that are flying out there. It's crazy. We need to keep sports and politics separate, man. It is vicious. 2 vicious things coming together. Kirby had a great rookie season. He fell apart last year. He was great in the pass rush. He did have 4 picks. He did play a lot more than if he did. So the numbers are a little bit skewed. But his overall grade was a 57.7. Didn't have the greatest of showing. It was kind of, rebaptism by fire, if you will. I think that he'll bounce back this year. I think that his sophomore season was tough. But now that you have a stronger corner and a stronger slot guy, and then of course Brian Branch, I think right now Brian Branch and Ifeatu Melifonwu are your starting safeties. 1,000%. I think that that's who you have to put back there until you bring in somebody else that can change my mind. You have to put Brian Branch and Ifeatu Melifonwu back there and Kirby into a backup role. Now, I think that that's why you also do need to bring in another veteran safety. And look, free agency is not done. Now you've got the whole rest of the season. So we'll see what happens. It'll be interesting to see, how Brad Holmes attacks this for the rest of the season. Is he going to make another play, or is he going to solely rest on getting through the draft and then making another play? I don't think that Justin Simmons lasts that long. I'm surprised that he's lasted. And of course, I haven't watched anything since about, the last time I was on. I haven't paid attention to anything, but it is what it is. I think that these Lions, 1 pick sealed the division. There you go. I think that these Lions have upgraded overall. Clearly, we have some of the best coaches, in the league. Assistant coaches, training staff. I mean, you name it. What I started with is talking about Sheila Hamp and the Lions organization, extending Brad Holmes and extending Dan Campbell, and how it's a big show of faith to everybody that everything is being done the right way. Again, we're not all going to like the picks. We're not all going to like the free agent signings. But I don't think that Brad Holmes has failed us yet. Could be an argument there that says, last season, you probably should have taken somebody at the trade deadline to help out our defensive ends or defensive tackles or either one. Didn't happen. And for that reason, I think that some people were pretty upset because of the way that the season ended. And now you're expecting, big things to happen in free agency, and it's really not. But I think that a big thing did happen with DJ Reader. I think that was a great pickup. Again, not my first guy, not my second guy, not even my third guy, but it was a great pickup nonetheless. And we'll let Brad Holmes continue to cook. And in the meantime, I think I need to go cook and have some dinner and cash it in for a couple of days and take a rest. Anything you guys want to get off your chest to talk about before we end tonight's show? Oh, Chris, I'm not surprised, man. I'm not surprised if Justin Simmons wants a bag. The guy has been, amazing over the last few seasons. I think he went something crazy, like almost 3,000 snaps in a row. I read you guys the stat the other day, but like 3 seasons, like 3,000 snaps in a row, never missed a snap. That's availability. And I think that speaks volumes to the type of character that he is. Type of player that he is. Who is the guy in the grassy knoll? What in the world does that mean? I'm not following that one. Where did Epinesa go? I do not know. Did he stay? Did he stay with Buffalo? I think he did. I think he stayed with Buffalo, didn't he? Or yeah, I think he did. Let's see here. Let's see what he got for a contract. I never saw what his contract was. So as of March 12th, AJ Epinesa is now ranked 60th among NFL edge rushers in contract. You've got to be kidding me. He got a $4 million signing bonus, $2.56 million 2024 salary fully guaranteed. Nothing beyond the first year is fully guaranteed, but a large chunk of his 2025 salary fully guarantees at the start of next league year. This makes 0 sense. So he's basically got a 1-year, $7 million deal. How much did I say Epinesa was going to get? $7 million or $8 million, somewhere in there. And that's what he got. They stole him. The dude had 6 sacks last year in a rotational role. I don't get it. I don't. So that one burns me up. You had to ask about Epinesa. That one burns me up, man. The dude is a phenomenal player, and I know he's a good culture dude. Followed him all the time in college and watched him grow up, man. The dude is great. That one's going to bother me because I think that he would have been a great addition to this team. I really do. The grass is that someone's name? I'm sorry. I just wanted to know who the guy was on the grassy knoll. You asked if anyone had any other questions. I don't know. Is that supposed to be like some sort of? I don't get it, Randy. What does it mean? Yeah. So Tobin wrote. I was just reading from the Buffalo Bills site. What they were saying is basically a 1-year deal, $7 million, because nothing guarantees until next year. And if he's off the roster by next year, he gets nothing. JFK. Oh, I got you. Who was the guy on the grassy knoll? I got you. You lost me there. Don't try to give me riddles tonight, man. I'm exhausted. But thanks for keeping it lively. Appreciate it. All right, y'all. You guys have been great as usual. I'm going to take a break probably for a couple of days unless something breaks. and then we'll be back. Well, tomorrow's Friday. We're supposed to do off the cuff on Friday, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what tomorrow brings. I gotcha. Why is everyone talking about that today, though? I can't say those words. I don't want it to get flagged by the AI of YouTube. So, all right, y'all. Appreciate you guys. We'll be back in roaring here soon. We'll have a good show planned the next time we come on. Tonight was just kind of airing out whatever we could talk about. But remember, 2014 defense, man. Interior defensive line. Best defense we have seen in the Detroit Lions organization over the last decade, until we develop another defense like that. That is going to be the standard that we need to measure against. Different defensive schemes, different coaching styles. But that's what we're trying to get to is a stout, run stuffing defense that can get to the quarterback. And they might not have, 60 sacks, but, it was different back then too. Like the numbers that they put up back then were big compared to, other teams. And what they were able to do against the run was incredible. So we're getting there. And I think that we're going to be great this season. I really do. I think 12-5 is the floor again. We'll have more predictions, obviously, throughout the season. We'll start writing them down and putting them out there and see who does what. Maybe we'll do some squares or something together if people want to get into it and have some fun with it. So I definitely want to start before we go. I definitely want to start some sort of fantasy football with this channel. I want to put together and organize it, find some people to help run it. We can do it for free. We can do it for, money, whatever. It doesn't matter. Maybe when I get memberships rolling, we can make memberships part of it where we're offering a fantasy football league that you can join into and actually win prizes like a trophy and, a belt, something. But I think that would be kind of fun to put that together. So again, thanks to my moderators, Better the Hunt, Tracy. You guys are great. Looks like the chat's well behaved as usual tonight. And until the next time, I appreciate y'all. Go One Pride, go Detroit Lions. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.